So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and this is what you guys will all do when it's your turn to present. Do you see that green button right there with the arrow in it? What that does is it shows what you're doing on, it takes over everybody's screens. So if you're on the call right now, you will not see me anymore, you'll see my screen. Well, you don't see me because this stupid computer doesn't have a camera anyway, but, and it does this weird three-dimensional effect, but I'm going to be presenting to everyone. Okay, and so then I'm going to pop over to Canvas and answer some questions for Mr. James. And because Jaleesa's, hopefully this will all work, and the YouTube video that we create will capture our audio. So since this is the audio source, you're going to need to speak up with your questions. Mr. James, what is your question?
So I'm still trying to get that hangout, so I'll go back to the questions.
Okay.
I'm supposed to speak up, you said?
Yeah, because this is capturing our sound.
Okay. So my question is exactly what is due. So as I walk through, I did the reading, did the quiz. So far, am I good to go?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. So now there's the two videos. I watched both of those. Are we supposed to actually reply to those?
I believe those videos are referenced in the discussion question. So the things, instructional videos, I think the discussion question comments on these. I can't remember.
Okay, so if you click on one, so it has a question on the video. And so I did my reply. But I thought when we discussed last week, there was only one thing that we needed to discuss. I don't remember what it was. So actually, I do remember what it was. If you go back to the module, there is one discussion question. It's about project 1. So do we need to actually reply to the videos?
Yeah, I gave you 3 discussion questions this first week. Typically, that is not the case.
Oh.
If I do, I'm not sure why this one is over here because we already, I must have, this should not be here, right here. But you're right, I lied. In module 3.4, I have 2 discussions. In module 5.6, I just have 1. 7.8, I have 1. 9.10, I do have 2 there.
Okay.
So I wasn't exactly telling the truth last week. I do have more than 1. In this first week, there's actually 3 discussion questions. But you're correct. The way that I set this up, you'll see January 26th, January 26th, January 26th. All of these deadlines are intended to be the Friday of that week too. So all your deadlines, the discussion questions, the quiz and the reading, and the visual example scavenger hunt, those are all due the Friday of the 2nd week of the module. So because we're in week 2, Friday the 26th is your deadline. So those dates should be pretty, but you notice that project 1, the big projects are going to kind of be spread out throughout the semester. Those are the ones that we're having the critiques on and whatnot. So week 3-4, February 9th, that's the Friday of week 4.
And then there's the project 1 discussion question. Is that also due the 26th?
You know what? I might add it to the module. I think that I just want you to kind of comment on this one. This was not really intended to be like, this was supposed to be more of a helper thing than like a requirement. I have to refresh my memory on all of these things. But yeah, this, I added this page right in here because I thought it might be helpful to see how people responded to these are all of our recordings from 2015. We're all looking fabulous, aren't we? And so if you want to go back, we did the same projects, I think, pretty much then. There might be some differences, but we did some projects some of the same projects, and you can if you want to see what other people did. I don't have a great example of project 1 from past projects. I do have great examples of project 2 and project 3, but unfortunately I don't have a great example of project 1. You can look at the critiques. This is 2015. I also have all of the recordings from 2016, so you can take a look at those too. And I think what I'll do is I'll set them up right on the home page. There's nothing there. They're doing the syllabi a little bit differently now. The syllabus is like the official syllabus that's in the system, and because I haven't contributed my syllabus to it yet, the internal system, well, I guess it is kind of coming up there. I'll use the home page for links to previous semester's videos, and then I'll start building a page that has all of our videos on it too. So that'll be right on your home page. Okay? Yeah.
And then the last question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
For project 1.
Yes.
3 different. I feel like, are there 3 choices we can do for this? Can we make it all up, make our own logo, do whatever we want? Can we find a local business that we think is doing a crappy job on their website? Or can we actually, I have somebody that hired me to do a logo recently, and I just figured I could make a website at the same time. Can we do any of those?
Yes, totally. It can be fiction or it can be real. Okay. It just has to be, well, anything, it's just design work. Even if it's like eventually an e-commerce site or something like that, it doesn't really matter. So let's take a look at project 1 because I added a few things to that. Project 1 down here. And I just kind of threw in some due dates for project 1 and project 2. You'll notice I put a due date of February 15th, which is in a few weeks. And in project 2 is March 29th. There's a little bit more time in there because we have spring break. And then the final project is due May 3rd, which is the Friday before the last week of classes, because it would be fabulous to be wrapped up that week before exams. But that never happens. Usually people are like straggling in with their projects. So let's look at project 1. So you've been approached to design a website for a local business. We kind of went through this last week, but I added some details. Wireframes. You will need to create wireframes for both versions of the site, screen and mobile, as well as homepage layout and one lower level page. Note, use the large Bootstrap PSD file to lay out the design for the screen, the computer screen, and the extra small layout to lay out the design for the mobile device. And you'll know what I'm talking about if you download this PSD file right here. So it gets a little bit confusing because you would think maybe we would have a marker here, but we don't.
That would make sense.
But we do. So you're going to have all of your writing up front. So we're going to say objective, target audience, expected outcome, description of project, those things. I'm just going to say your written portion, which is, objective, target audience, blah, 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 blah. And you've done these before, so you know you're going to put them, you're not going to write in first person. Do you know what that means, writing in first person? I will make this website because I think that I will. That's first person. Don't write in first person. Okay, so you're going to have like headings and an objective and a target audience and all that. Then you're going to get to the next part. And we'll go, so just to be very clear, expected outcomes. And then description. And the description of the project, I would use this section to help educate the client as to what you're going to be doing. So you're going to say, we'll begin with presentation of wireframes and then the interface designs. It will conclude by coding. You describe the overall process to the client. Okay, now we get into the flow chart and the wireframes. So you're going to have a flow chart. And how you create the flow chart, I do have, you probably have done this at this point several times. I have instructional materials on how to create a flow chart. If you somehow miss this, it's all in my Intm 1600 class, and I can include that if anybody needs it. I would suggest creating this in Adobe Illustrator, because this whole piece is going to be in InDesign, and it'll just work really nicely if you do it all in the Adobe Suite. So you're going to have a flowchart, and a flowchart is a diagram of the architecture of the system. Okay, I used to think, like, why put all of this work into the flowchart? It's just a diagram of the pages. The reason why this whole document here is a presentation to the client and like is representing you as a designer developer. So you want this to look nice and modern and elegant and clear, be very clear. Okay, well, this forces you to think about the names of the pages, how are you going to title different pages, and you may get some better ideas. I'm not asking you to do any kind of competitive analysis in this proposal. However, part of your process should be looking at, like, if James's client is a pizza shop in Webster, he probably would want to look at like some other pizza shop websites, you know. So take some time, get some ideas. Do they have a page called menu? You know, what is going to be expected of the person that comes to this site? Kind of like what you did in information architecture, thinking about appropriate headings that are going to make sense to people. Okay, then you're going to have the wireframes. Are there any color in wireframes? No, just black and white representation. So for your wireframes, you have your home screen. You're going to have a lower level page. And then you're going to have a different wireframe for your extra small mobile home and lower level. Okay, so there'll be 4 wireframes. Why am I asking you to do a home page and a lower level? Do you guys know what I mean by a lower level page? Why do you think I'm asking you to do 2 different wireframes here?
They won't be the same.
It's different type of content, right? Usually the home page has kind of like more about making a big statement about the brand. You know, if you go to like any site, and this is just off the top of my head, but I use Airbnb a lot, right? The homepage of Airbnb is pretty simple, right? It has some administrative stuff right here, but makes a big statement about what it is, and it prioritizes exactly what it wants you to do. It wants you to get in there and start booking a house, so they make it as simple as possible, right? But if we start to go onto a lower level page where, I want to look at the experiences, there's a different layout to this page, right? So that's what I mean. You have different needs on a home page versus a lower level page. To get the right proportions and understand kind of where to place things, I would use that PSD file that I'm giving you that has the Bootstrap templates on it for both of these. And once you open that, you'll see that there's an extra small layout and there's a extra large layout. So this would be use your extra large and use your extra small. Then you're going to get into the final designs, right? So this is all part of the proposal. It's all going to be one big piece that you turn in at the end. So the last thing we do is we're going to say design 1. And design 1 has 4 pieces to it. It's going to have a home screen, a lower level screen, and this would be your extra large layout. And you're going to have a home screen and a lower level screen for mobile. And then design 2, same thing, home, lower level. Okay.
So are we doing wireframes for 2 different designs?
No. The wireframe, the layout will be consistent on each one of these. So once you've decided your layout scheme, you're just going to be applying different color and typeface and images and all of that to these 2 designs. So the layout, if you really like your layout, your work should be easy for you because you're just going to plop different stuff on top for these 2 different solutions. Now, as a designer, do you think it serves you really well for these 2 different designs, design 1 and 2, to propose something that looks another? Why are you shaking your head? Why not, Adana?
I guess because you want to go 2 different directions in case the client feels more strongly about one.
Exactly. So you want to, and sometimes what I do, partly is laziness, but what I do sometimes is I subcontract this out to somebody else. I'm like, look, can I pay you to do a different design set? Because I want to give the client a very different point of view. You know what I mean? I want them to see, and I want them to say, oh, I really love the typeface here, but I actually really like, this over here. I mean, if we were doing this for real, I would say, and we were two different designers, I would say, I'll do a set of wireframes in this, you do a set of wireframes in this, so we're also mixing up the layout, but just to save you time and make this go a little faster, you're gonna commit to one wireframe, and I really want you to go through this process where you're committing to your layout, and then in planning it all out, and then go apply the colors and the type and all of that. I think this is the one area where I saw a lot of people trip up in the past, is that they propose things that were like slight variations of one another. Like, no, dude, very different typeface, different colors, and make it as different as possible. So we really have some extreme opposites. And if you can get somebody else to design it for you, that's great because they're gonna have a different natural style. My favorite typeface is probably not your favorite typeface. So what I would tend to choose is gonna look different from what somebody else would choose. Does this help clarify what's expected? And I want this all in one big PDF file. Yeah, James.
I'm sorry, I still have questions. But
Yeah.
I tried to make a client brief. I'm trying to build a client brief personally that I'm going to take with me out to the world. That I just always have like a template.
Mm-hmm.
So I Googled client brief templates, and there's a few out there, but most of them come in like Word. So I'm trying to build this thing in Word, and if Word was a tangible object, I'd throw it to the wall. So are you saying that InDesign is probably the best program to build a template in? And if so, are there templates out there that are already available to us to drop this stuff into?
InDesign?
InDesign.
Yeah.
InDesign client brief templates.
Oh, wow.
Because I Googled it, and I had images, I've had all kinds of stuff. I just didn't know if you had any already, or we could just drop our own flavor into it,
Yeah.
It has all the stuff.
No, and when you say client brief, is it kind of like what you're talking about is like exactly this, like a
Pretty
template
much.
for InDesign?
They were a little bit different. There was like some mission statements. And when I took interactive strategic writing, it was a little bit different there. I used Word, but now I'm ready to start building one that I'm going to take with me.
Right. No, I mean, I built my own just for like when I write proposals and stuff. And then the last page has testimonials and a list of other sites that I've done. And I just designed it myself in InDesign. There wasn't a whole lot to it except the logo and the address on the corner and like stylized headings and whatnot.
Can we see yours?
Yeah, it's really old. Because I don't do tons of.
Well, I just want to see an example, some of the examples were really crappy. I'm not going to lie. Like, they were just, if I were a client and you gave me their examples, I'd be like, I'm going to go find somebody else. So what are freelancers on Fiverr and Upwork? What are they doing? What are they sending their clients? I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work on Fiverr.
You do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Whatever anybody wants. I did slideshows for people on PowerPoint. I got $250 for it.
Wow, that's interesting.
People don't want to do slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, I downloaded it. I just downloaded a template for $15 and they put their stuff in it for me.
Yeah. I actually listened to a podcast all about Fiverr, and I found it to be fascinating, like what specific tasks and your strategy on Fiverr and all of that. I think it's really interesting. Okay, well, it isn't that you start with that, and if you don't have anything to present, I'll see you on Thursday for your other class.
Yes.
I'm going to record Jaleesa presenting. If you want to spend 2 minutes showing what you have so far, can you do that?
I put a message on the announcement with my Google account, my email.
Oh, okay, for this class?
Yes.
Yes, but Thursday, you and I have a standing meeting.
I know, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I put that on there so that you have it while I was thinking about it.
Okay. I may try to schedule, if people want to get a critique in this week, I will try to schedule something later in the week. I'm thinking maybe Friday at some point, just so anybody who wants to hop on and show their work. I do want to, since everybody has to run, and Jaleesa's logged in, why don't you show what you have so far, Jaleesa? Or you want to. Let's do Pamela's real quick, just so you can see an example. I think I have to release the screen. Okay, so now Pamela is going to present. Okay,
So what I've got so far is, I wrote the objective, target audience, description of the project. And I felt like it was a pretty standard thing. So I'm gonna do a website for my daughter who just graduated in December. And she graduated with an English degree, and she's a comic humorist. So she needs everything. And so, I've got a guess of who her target audience is. She's not a family friendly person, to be honest. And then a description of the project. So I just have a handwritten flowchart for the moment. And then I put together this, page that would be just like an example of what we might put together. And I just think her expression is hilarious. She's touching my dog like the dog, don't take my dog.
do you guys have any comments so far?
I'm still trying to get
I
things.
really like it.
Yeah, that's a good start.
And there are little arrows by the blog, and there will be no drop down additional stuff. So at least for the desktop, that's where I'm at. And yeah, for design one.
I think I'm going to cut you off a little bit just because I want people to, you to be able to go. Can you scroll to the top just a little bit?
Yes.
Well, first of all, you realize that you're going to make your flowchart a lot nicer looking, I know. But I'm glad that you put whatever you had in here. That's perfect because this is going to be an evolving document, so that's awesome. So she did do this, but you kind of skipped this part right here. And so before you get too committed to that particular look, because you're going to be proposing two things, think about the layout a little bit more. I think you've got an awesome start. I'm glad you put some ideas down on paper. You're going to make your headings. We're going to do a little bit, we're going to look at InDesign, and I want you to, make your headings more prominent and add a little bit more spacing in there. And these are some little tweaks I'll show you how to do in InDesign. I think what will help is probably someone like her reach, her social media profiles are super important in terms of getting booked and all of that. So writing about a little bit more about the project, showing that you understand why this person needs a website. She's going to have to display her Twitter reach and what she's doing, and you might want to go look at who are her aspiration comics, and have you looked at those websites, and maybe speak to the fact that you understand this is all about kind of to those pages, but this is all about a space for curating all of her.
Exactly. It's how I put curating, and it's her portal for everything.
Right.
And the thing that she can control. So, it's not Facebook. It's not something that, she's still part of all of the social medias, but she'll have her own website that she can completely have control over.
Right.
For the rest of her life.
Right. I think this is a great start. Would you guys like you mentioned the client brief, you want to see mine. I have to do some digging around to show it to you, but I could do an InDesign demo. We could do it live. Since we're not meeting for the full period, I feel compelled to have another critique later in the week at some point, and you guys have to get 8 in. So Pamela, congrats, you just got your first one. Where we could have an option to present work, but I could also record myself talking about InDesign, showing you my client brief, and some tricks for getting your InDesign template set up. Would that be helpful for you guys? Okay, I am thinking probably Friday at some point.
Yeah.
And again, this is optional. It's going to be recorded. You can always go back and watch it, but if you want to use that time to jump on and present your work to get credit for a critique, you can. Sound okay? Okay, one more thing I want to show you as you're packing up, just because these guys have to go, and whoever doesn't have to leave, you're welcome to stay, and I can talk to you about whatever. And Pamela, I know you wanted to talk about your degree audit.
Yeah.
I'm in my office pretty much all day if you need me.
So Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm in class.
You're- Oh, that's crazy.
Every Tuesday and Thursday. All my classes are Tuesday and Thursday with the exception of that Monday night class.
Can you come before Scott's class on Thursday? I can be here that early, or if you have a break during lunch. I just want to make sure I answer your question.
I have half an hour after Scott's class before my next class starts, and it's, I'm down in the business building, so it's like walking up here would take 10 minutes, and then, it's like,
Yeah.
So Thursday morning would be better.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about it. Just FYI, I'm going to show you how I record the critiques. See, Pamela gave her critique. She has a 1 out of 1 here, and then I also, well, I put this in here, and I add a comment, the date, which is 1/23/18, post comment. And so you might want to keep track of when you presented as well, in case I miss something, like God forbid. But it doesn't matter when you do them, but now she's on her way to filling in all 8 spots. Okay? So I think I'll pitch something probably Friday morning and be able to show you some InDesign. And if anybody wants to get credit for the critique, let me know. Or give other questions.
Should I meet you at your office on Thursday morning?
Let me just think for a second. Can you email me and I can look at my calendar and make sure I'm not telling you something stupid that, so you have no breaks throughout the day on Thursday, huh?
I have a half-hour break, but I'm down at the. She's not,
Oh, bye, James.
it's not very long. It'll probably end up being 5.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Just send me an email and we'll confirm it. I just don't want to commit and forget.
Cool. Thank you, Julia.
Yes.
I sent you another email. I
About,
switched to my class one more time. I know I told you last week I wanted to drop something and add
oh,
on Scott's class.
and you decided not to do that?
I want to still add his class, but I want to drop a night class that I have right now.
Oh, okay.
So I just sent my.
Okay, I probably can handle that.
Okay.
I actually think you can do it through connections because the ad drop dead. Or didn't it?
I tried and it said it's passed. Like every
Oh.
time when I get to the first day,
Oh.
it won't even let me drop.
Okay, let me do it. But it's all in email.
Yes.
Did you send it this morning?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I don't remember seeing
you
email
were
from you.
right here.
Okay, good. All right. Does anybody else need anything from me? Jaleesa, did you want to just go ahead and present to get credit for it?
Okay.
You're okay?
I think now that I saw that, I had a hard time finding like the company, so I wasn't sure if we could make it up or get a company.
Yeah.
So I found a Lego, a Lego Thunder. So
Uh-huh.
I was like researching those things. I think I might start over now that I have a clear understanding. And I could make up content for it because she doesn't have a website, but so I was trying to think of what's the navigation, so I was studying other sites.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Good. How are you girls? Ladies?
One question.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna like redo like a website
Mm-hmm.
for a company,
Mhm.
but I don't want to do it anymore. I just feel like that as enough. I don't know.
If you think it's bad, if you feel like there's something to be,
Kind of like tweak it.
yeah, I mean, but I think you want to offer a justification as to why it's problematic. You know, the only thing I really don't want you to do is to focus on your portfolio site, because this is such a good portfolio piece that it's like, oh, we're going to be talking about the portfolio in the portfolio. It just becomes like, no, show something really different and show something that has like a wedding planner. I think that's a great project because there's such strong visuals that go with that too. She's going to have nice images. She's going to have really, I can see it being very stylized and gives you an opportunity to really do some cool things.
Do like artists. Which was this one.
But that's going to be that. I mean, I think
So
the I just don't want you to set yourself up for a failure because it probably looks fairly professional, and then if you don't knock it out of the park,
I know. That's why I just.
you might give yourself like here's one. Oh no, I'm just gonna, you can take your computer. I'm gonna stop